All right. I think I'm here. Everything's just sticking and crashing and slowing and see if we can get it all up and running again. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining again. Don't know what happened. It was a pain to get restarted. Yo. Right, I need to move so my rest of my stuff comes up. Back in the saddle again. Yep. Oh, come on. It's like my computer is doing a really big brain fart. Let's try this now. Okay, here we go. Okay. Do that. All right. I think we're all sorted out again, but let's hope we stay that way. Guess we'll have to wait until everybody's back in now. Anybody else got anything else to chat about until that happens? At least the music's good. Yeah. I might be having a problem because I'm running out of space on my C drive again. I often do. I put a load of stuff on today. I need to move it across to my external. Richard, hello. Thanks for coming back. I wonder if there's anything else I can delete in the meantime. Alright, so we're just waiting for everybody else to come back, I think. Go to that. Oh, you're also having a problem with my volume today. I'm not sure why, it's the same. Zanka was complaining about it, and then everybody else said no, it's fine. Hang on. Let me just, I see Spotify is not picking up. Hang on. Across the head seems fine. Let me just do the Spotify thing again, if I can find it. It does look like it's picking it up. Okay, I'll do that just now. Let's check Samsung. Oh, this might be why. Hold on. Okay, how's that? Is that better? Yeah. Just yeah, let me know if that's better. It was set to my default, so I don't know what my default mic is. Power mix. We are alone. How are you? Thanks for joining. How long does it take to gain mediumship to finally? I'm assuming that's be able to talk to demons for a beginner. There's no set time specifically. You just have to work through the foundational practices. Learn how to do your meditation and make sure you're doing your cleansing and you've got your wards up and you know how to protect yourself. Specifically, if you're going to do spirit work, and especially if you're going to do mediumship, is cleansing very, very big, warding very, very big, and discernment. Definitely learn your discernment because otherwise you're going to have massive problems. But do all your foundational work. You've got to be able to work with energy. You've got to be able to reach trance states. But that differs from person to person. There's no set time frame that anybody can actually give you. And some people are going to work through the material a lot slower than other people. Some people may work through the material quickly, but they don't grasp it as easily as other people. So it's a varied thing. Nobody can really tell you specifically. How do you banish and cleanse your space? Are you asking me specifically, or are you asking generally? Because there's lots of different ways to banish and cleanse spaces. And quite often, you might not want to do banishings. You want to cleanse, but you might not want to do banishing. You might want to do balancing. Me specifically, it depends. Sometimes I feel like my space needs to be balanced, and I might do an elemental balancing, for instance. Call in the elemental kings, which helps. I find it helps to balance the space, and it, you say energetically, elementally. Um, but sometimes I won't do any of that. I'm always doing cleansing because you should be doing cleansing. So that's just part and parcel of the work itself and daily life. That's the other thing. A lot of the stuff we kind of some people think that they have to stop their mundane activities and then start their magical activities, and that includes cleansing and protection. No, with cleansing and protection, um, it's done all the time. That's part and parcel of everything. That's what you do daily. That's what you do you integrate everything. So your magical and your mundane life become integrated. They overlap. Um, but I might not work with any particular circle casting or any such format at all. I might just go straight into the work. But as I said, if I feel like the space needs to be balanced in a particular way, I'll do that. In certain circumstances, I may be working with forces which require me to do more of a. I was taught a very specific Kabbalistic sacred space creation, for instance, which I might find useful for the work I'm doing. I don't generally do Golden Dawn workings anymore, but at one stage I would have done the banishing rituals, the invocational rituals. It's been a long time since I've done those actually. Generally, very generally speaking, I do on a daily basis. I do cleansing work, and that cleansing work includes a rite that I created, which is called the ERO rite, which I teach on my Patreon, that I find very useful, and a lot of other people have found very useful as well. So there's that. But yeah, it depends on the circumstances, the type of work I'm doing, the type of mask or suit of um yeah, the mask I'm stepping into, the kind of work I'm doing. That will differ or make a big difference. I'm not sure if that answers your question or not. I know it's a very generalized kind of answer. Richard says switched on my headset and the volume is fine now. Sometimes helps, yes. Before you switch it on, you kind of feel like an old person. Yeah, I know that feeling. I was busy with trying to clear some crap off my computer so we don't crash again. Alexis, hello. It took me like 1.5 years to actually start communicating with demons, and I still struggle after 6 years or so. It's a journey. Yes, yeah. I mean, even when you do get to the point where you feel you can start doing that type of work or whatever type of work it is, there's then the practice of doing that, and that has to develop as well. So it can take a long time to actually get there. EO, have you ever used god names during the EO rite, like instead of vibrating the name of personal daimon or Lucifer, etc., use Hashem? Not in the EO rite, no. Um, because it doesn't really fit well, I don't feel. I do vibrate, personally, I do vibrate or use the name of my personal daimon, my holy guardian angel, etc., whatever term we're using, within that rite, because I like to connect with that particular aspect of myself. But not specifically God names. Um, Alexa, yes, and good evening to you too. How is everybody? I'm fine, I think. Um, oh, aside from the EOO itself, yes, I have. I've done specific, as I said, Golden Dawn workings before, Thelemic workings before, but that was a long time ago. What I do tend to do, and specifically in regards to Hashem or Yod-Heh-Vav, is the Kabbalistic sacred space creation that I was taught by Jacobus, and that specifically works on the name itself. Um, in fact, you only use the ineffable name in that rite. Hold on. I can't remember what I did. What did I do? Did that. Go over here. Right. Empty recycle bin. Bye. Some odd number of gigabytes. Okay, that should help. Oh, look. Yes, that should help. We will not crash anymore tonight. Hopefully. We are cleared. Okay, so that's sorted. Which means I can call up the chat over here. That's better. Right, now I can see it properly. Okay. Divs. Hello. Thanks for joining. Right, so let's see. Now I can't even remember what I was talking about before we crashed. I was telling you all about what's happening next month. So we've got all the various videos that are happening in February. Then on Patreon, let's see what's happening on Patreon. So I'm still doing the Solomonic Pentacles. We're doing that I'll be carrying on for like months with that. We are starting with the Venus Pentacles now. I am, if you're not aware, I am doing this particular live slot on Patreon every other week. You have to be on the words today. Seriously, they ignore me. Oh wait, shit! I haven't. I'm all over the place. I am. I do apologize. I seriously am all over the place tonight. I forgot to sort out the Spotify thing. Wasn't picking up on there. So let me try and answer questions while I'm doing that as well. Alexis, I have used God name Adonai for cleansing before working with neutral and light spirit. Felt energy lifting up, so I guess it works, but intention and focus matters and not the name used. You might get a lot of disagreement there. Venus, oh amazing. Yeah, you might get a lot of disagreement there. It actually, specifically, especially when you're working with divine names, you oh, across the hedge has got to go to class. All right, have a good one. I hope it's a fantastic class. Enjoy, and I'll chat to you soon. What? But perhaps styles are not to be talked about in public. You never know. That's one of the things I'm asking about. Have a good one. Cheerio. So when you're working with divine names from the Hebrew traditions and such things, they have their own power. They hold their own power, and not just the names themselves, but the letters. The Hebrew letters hold specific power. Each one of them. It's considered that each Hebrew letter is actually an angel, an angelic force. And it's often considered that not even just speaking Hebrew or reading Hebrew, but looking at actual Hebrew, written Hebrew, actually alters you in some way. So you'll probably get from a lot of practitioners in these aspects, in Kabbalah, etc. You'll probably get a lot of people saying that it's got nothing to do with intention or focus. It's about the engagement, um, which is an incredibly interesting thing all by itself. You know, the to consider that the letters actually hold power, um, and just looking at them actually alters you psychologically, physically, mentally, emotionally. Quite an interesting thing. Anyway, Alexis, you also said Venus, so amazing. What was that in regards to? I missed that. Oh, am I possibly missing some of the chats here? Because wasn't on the live chat thing. If I've missed anything, just let me know. Dr. Zero Free Magic Secrets Show. Hello. I'm just going to call you Doc. It might be easier. Thanks for joining. Male, female, well. I really want to meditate and develop the skills needed to speak with and interact with demons, but the fear of astral parasites and anxiety about the unknown keeps me from meditating. Is there any other way to develop these important skills? No, but you'll probably want to work on the anxiety and fear itself. And one way to do that is to do the foundational work, because if you have all the foundational work down pat and you're doing it, you've got the transfer, you know how to do transfer work, you know how to manipulate and move energy, build it up, push it out, move it around the body, move it around the space, all of that stuff. And you have visualization, concentration, all of these aspects within the foundational stuff. You're doing your cleansing, and you're doing your warding, your protection, and you are learning discernment, etc., which is all 101 stuff. You are going to still be afraid. You're still going to have fear, especially in the beginning, but you're going to have the tools you need to carry you forward, and you don't have to worry about astral parasites. Sure, you're going to pick them up every now and again. We all do. I do. Everybody does. But we've got the tools to know how to deal with them and what to do. And it's, you know, when we talk about astral parasites, quite often it's just negative energy that we pick up during the day. And we do our cleansing work to get rid of it. Just the same way as, we hop in the shower or the bath and we wash ourselves and clean ourselves physically. We do the same thing energetically. So, work on the foundational stuff and it will give you more confidence because you will have the skills and you will have the tools that you need to deal with all of this stuff. And, you don't need to be so afraid. And this is what, for some reason, everybody is just skipping over, is understanding that before you do any of this stuff, you need to do your 101 practices. You need to do your foundations. Build your foundations so you can build a really strong house on top of them. But yeah, everybody just seems to be skipping over that for some reason. Alexis, indeed, I do believe in letters holding power and being sacred, but generally speaking, not in Hebrew. In my case, I just chanted and recited divine names without reading or looking at any letters. Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, there's a specific way when we're talking about divine names, name of God, names of God, etc., etc. There is a particular fashion in which you vibrate those names to actually activate them. Apart from reading them. If you really want to open the gates and things like that, specific fashion to do that. If one is scared to work with spirits, they should start by working with themselves. Yes, that's also a very good point. Is in the meantime, at least, don't work with the spirits. Don't think about working with demons or gods or whatever. Don't even bother. Work with yourself. This doesn't always just mean you're, working with your personal daimon or anything like that. It's working with your own energy, building your own, strengthening your ego, making an anchor, gaining control of your ego and things like that. Everything about yourself. You've got everything you need. You don't need to go to spirits to help you with anything. You've got everything you need already. You've got the whole toolkit. But you just got to become aware of it. You just got to find out what that is, and you've got to work with it, and you've got to build it and grow it and strengthen it and that. So yeah, working with yourself is a very good idea. Lamar Jackson, hello. What are your invocation methods when I can talk? What do you use to successfully invoke demons? Do you draw blood? If I have built a strong relationship with a spirit, I will draw blood, maybe, if they want it. Some don't want it, some don't like blood. That's usually given as an offering. I'm just going to try and get the music going. Oh, Spotify's working again. There we go. Okay. Alright. We're back. Everything's back to normal. Which invocation methods do I use? So there's a few different methods, and it depends on the spirit, and also depends on my mood and what I feel like doing at the time. One is to sit, and if it's specifically a demon that is recognized within modern demonology, there's usually an N attached to that spirit, which is public, and I will chant the N because I like mantra yoga. Yes, yes. Mantra. Words are failing me today, so please forgive me. Which is quite funny because I'm talking about using words in magic. But so there is that part where I will sit and chant, and what I'll usually do then is I'll go into a trance state, and then the spirit will come through, and I'll start talking to the spirit, or getting communication from the spirit. At least it's usually images, impressions, ideas, all that type of stuff. Then another method I like to use is one that I worked on with the spirits themselves. And it's one where I use the headless one right. I also invoke the planetary aspects, which also works with the specific Deccan, which was recognized, aligned with the Goetic spirit by the Golden Dawn, which comes along with a particular planetary aspect. So I'll invoke the planet, open the gate on the Sephira, etc., etc. So it gets very ceremonial, very kind of like all that stuff. And then I call the spirit and I work with the spirit, and I form part of the triangle of art in that particular working, which is inside the circle, not outside the circle, because it kind of creates a reflection between worlds. Almost like I'm sitting with my scrying mirror and I'm forming one point of the triangle myself, and then back to back is the spirit who is doing the same thing in the other world. Kind of like that, like a mirror image almost. What it feels like when I do it anyway. So there's that one. Those are the two main methods that I use. I do find the end to be very useful because as I said, I use a lot of vibration, sound vibration, spontaneous singing, things like that in my practice. So it makes sense for me personally. Alexis, astral parasites and anxiety are awful. Got to work on that. Yes, yeah. And the thing to bear in mind there as well is that the anxiety itself is going to cause or attract parasitic entities. So, work on the anxiety. And it's not easy. I know it's not easy. I'm not saying it is. But one of the ways to do that is to do your foundational training, because it gives, as I said, it gives you the tools. It gives you the things you need in order to combat anything. So you become more confident, and that confidence helps with everything else. So, definitely build the foundation so your house don't fall down. Kerry, I purchased William Gray's Living the Tree for my first Kabbalah book. Living the Tree, which one was that? I would actually recommend Kabbalistic Concepts from William Gray to start with. Living the Tree, please. Oh yes, Kabbalistic Concepts, Living the Tree. I'm sorry, I call it Kabbalistic Concepts. Brilliant book, great. Yes, absolutely, 100% agree. Okay, great book, it really is. What I would recommend after that is if you want to specifically work with the tree. Yeah, you can go in two directions here, really. You can, if you want to work specifically with the tree, I would actually recommend William Gray again. Ladder of Lights, and then after that is the Talking Tree. The Ladder of Lights deals with the Sphirot and the specific emanations, the worlds, the four worlds, and how everything forms within the Sphirot, the Sphirot themselves. And then the Talking Tree actually goes on to discussing the paths between the Sphirot. So that's specifically the tree. The other direction you can go in there is to then work with practical Kabbalah, which I would then recommend you call Biswat, which is more the kind of like the practical, magical aspects of Kabbalah itself. Carry on. Alexis, so just focus and intention doesn't make the magic, but it activates because of divinity and high energy enclosed in the names, letters. Yes, absolutely. It's kind of like that's kind of what you're going for there, is that if you are working, it's like taking a tool and knowing how to use it. So if you are using it properly, you're going to get the results that you require. If you don't know how to use it properly, you're probably not going to get the results. But by using it the way it should be used, therefore, for instance, as an example, vibrating the divine names, the names of God, in their proper fashion, you are going to unlock particular things, so they act like keys. And just doing that, just engaging with it, no belief required, nothing but engagement is going to give you the results. So as long as you're using the tool the way it should be used, you're going to get the results. And you don't need to believe in the tool itself, because that is what is giving you the end result. Keep saying results. Alexis, are elves like nature spirits, like fairies or nymphs? I'm going to say not exactly. There's a lot of overlap here. And when we use the term fairies or fae or something like that, that is actually kind of generally considered a very broad term. You know, if you talk to somebody in Ireland and ask them about fairies, they're probably not going to actually give you an answer, because they're not called fairies, they're called she. And they have all these various titles that they give them, but they wouldn't usually refer to them as being fairies. We do generally, because it kind of gives us a talking point, really. But elves, I think, are very specific to a region of the other worlds. I don't think, I may be wrong here, and everybody's going to have an interpretation, especially in regards to this. But I don't think elves actually cross over into our world as the same way nature spirits do. Nymphs I would consider to be nature spirits, because they are of the waters, and we interact with them directly in middle world. But yeah, see, the problem with fairies is some people will not include nature spirits in the umbrella term of fairies, and other people will. So as I said, fairies becomes a very difficult word to use, because it's very generalized. What's the name? Morgan Daimler actually did a really good examination of this particular aspect. You know, the use of the word fairy, and how it's kind of good and bad at the same time, because it gives us an idea of what we're talking about, but it doesn't really give us a descriptive aspect. Go on to Morgan Daimler's YouTube channel, and she did it quite recently, like a month, not even a month back, I don't think. I think it was during Jan. And have a look for that. It's very good. And I mean, if you want to sort of learn about fairies and stuff, that Morgan Daimler, like the ultimate person to learn from. Alexis at Kerry, awesome. Hope you enjoy and find the book useful. It's an amazing book. EO, Lias, I started Liebe Jigoran. Tomorrow, wish a motherfucking yeah. Good luck with that. Have fun. Castle, hello, Castle. Is Andrea here? No, if Andrea was here, she would have said hello. I'm not sure. I think she was here last time. We were doing the Covenstead. right. There we go. Okay, what else can I tell you guys about? So, told you about what's coming up on YouTube in Feb, told you about the Patreon live chats. Still doing the Solomonic Pentacles on Patreon. I'm actually considering raising the price of the journal tier because everything's going on the journal tier. Everybody who's on there already, don't worry, that will stay at the price you're already paying. But I might push it up to $10 a month or something like that. I need to rearrange stuff there. I'm not sure who's still interacting with the Egregore project. I know one person is, but one person doesn't really make a group, and that was the whole idea behind that. I think I need to do some rearranging and some housekeeping. Kerry, I like the Patreon. What do you get with the journal subscription? As I said, the journal subscription is kind of like, it's all the bits and pieces that I'm doing personally. So, like for instance, I explored the Solomonic Pentacles. Therefore, I decided to actually present that on Patreon in the journal tier. And therefore, as you know, I'm going through one each week. Which was kind of an extension of my own study of it. If you go back through what we've done already, there's quite a few things. For instance, Vocatio Australis is the work, the actual specific poetic invocation work that I did, which involves using the Headless One right, calling or invoking the planets, opening the gates to the planet on the Sephira, all of that stuff, and then using the specific method of lining yourself with the decan that aligns with the poetic spirit. So there's that, and I put that into a book format. There was also the Black Book of Obumero that I did previously. That was before I started the Pentacle work, so have a look for that as well. So what I was doing as I was going through that and I was working through it myself, I was then presenting the work to everybody on Patreon, and then refining it at the end, and then putting it all into kind of a book format. So there's all of those things that I've done in the past, which are my own explorations, which I've extended into, giving to everybody on Patreon. Do any of the pentacles deal with money? Oh yes, a lot of them actually. If you go, let's see, Mercury itself has one. It's the fifth one, which opens the gates of abundance in money and marketing magic. But if you go into Jupiter, which is quite a way away already, still before we get there, you've got the wheel, which is used for getting rid of bad credit reports and improving credit scores. You've got the second pentacle, which is acquiring glory, honors, and dignities of all kinds, acquiring patronage from rich and powerful benefactors. The third pentacle, that's just authority over any spirit protection. The fourth pentacle, which is actually one we should be using now because that's very specifically astrologically aligned. And up until June 30th this year, we can use it, but then we can only really use it again in 2037. So grab the fourth pentacle of Jupiter. That is to acquire riches and honor and possess much wealth. Then that's for dream incubation, that's for protection, and then the seventh pentacle of Jupiter is for power against poverty, discover treasures, and drive away the spirits that guard them. So yeah, you've got quite a few for money. One last ceremonial magic question. Can you teach me your method of creating space Kabbalistic? Also, have you ever done middle pillar? Is it the same idea? Your middle pillar's got nothing to do with this Kabbalistic space creation. Middle pillar's about balancing the self. Yes, I have done it a long time ago when I was doing Golden Dawn stuff. Yes, but I can definitely teach you the Kabbalistic space creation. We will do that. It's a very simple, but extremely effective. I was taught that by a Corvus after I learned how, doing the LBRP, specifically the LBRP. Then I was taught this method, and it blew me away. Completely blew me away. So we'll go through that. Kerry, fourth pentacle of Jupiter. The fourth pentacle is the wealth bringer. That's the one to acquire riches and honor and possess much wealth, but it is very specifically aligned astrologically. The others aren't really. I mean, they are mapped into kind of the aspects of the planets, but they're not really aligned with the planets. They're kind of categorized into the planets because they hold a particular office or power or energy. Like for instance, the Mars. Mars is about war, waging war and all that stuff. So the Mars Pentacles, for instance, healing all kinds of diseases, because you'd be waging war on diseases, but exciting war, wrath, discord, hostility, victory in war, protection against evil spirits, turn the weapons of evil oppressors back onto themselves, all of that stuff. So all of that stuff kind of falls into what we would consider the aspect of Mars to be. So Jupiter is very much about abundance and growth, wealth, riches, all of that stuff. So everything which revolves around that is placed into the Jupiter category. But they're not specifically actually planetary in aspect, although we kind of say we call them that, but it's not the idea behind them really. You don't have to work with a Jupiter pentacle during a Jupiter hour on a Thursday, for instance. You can work with it any time. It might give you a bit more of a boost because you're pulling in that particular abundant energy, but it's not a requirement, if that makes any sense. But that specific one, for some reason, is just aligned very specifically with you're supposed to work with it day and time of Jupiter when in the sign of Cancer. And currently that started on June 9th, 2025 and is continuing until June 30th this year. And then only again in 2037. So that's why I mentioned that. So what do Saturn Pentacles do? So let's have a look. Okay, so striking terror into the spirits and controlling them. The second one is actually got the Sator square in it, so that's for protection. Then ruin, destruction, and death, and spiritual protection and warding off malicious magic. Actually recommended for those who have recently broken a curse or cut cords or anything like that. The sixth wheel or sixth pentacle is obsess others with demons, very Saturnian. And the seventh is cause earthquakes. I don't know why anybody would want to do that, but cause earthquakes or incite divine retribution for injustice. So all very Saturnian in nature. Kerry, is there a conjuration with the pentacle? The versicle itself, you won't find the versicle on the wheels, or what Abner calls the emissary angel pentacles. That's usually the four angelic names on those. But the versicle that goes around the outside, that is actually used to activate the pentacle, generally speaking, right? If you go into Mastros's work, and this is why I just totally love Mastros. Sarah Mastros, with her book, just opened up a whole new avenue. For me, at least, anyway. Um, there are so many ways you can actually work with these pentacles. You know, some of them, like there's one for the sun, which is used to open the psychic senses. You lie in the sun, you put it over your forehead, and you imagine it drilling down into your head. But there's other things like there's one for Mars, for instance, which is used to heal all diseases, all kinds of diseases. What you could do is you could actually dissolve it in water. What I mean by that is you draw the pentacle on parchment or paper or something non-toxic, obviously, and use non-toxic inks, and then place it in the water and let the ink dissolve, and then take the paper out and then drink it. So you're taking the pentacle into yourself. Or you can draw it on rice paper and eat it. Non-toxic inks, remember. Don't want anybody going off and, you know, eating stuff with toxic inks on. But there's all these different methods of actually activating the pentacles, and I like Mastros's method of using the wheel, and it creates like a double vortex. You actually spin the pentacle itself, and it's a marvelous, beautiful method. Um, and they're brilliant. They're just absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love the pentacles. I think they're brilliant. They're amazing. Oh, sorry. But if you get into Mastros's work, which is something I do not include in my own method, Mastros goes very specifically into actually contacting King Solomon, and then activating the Solomonic seal, and then activating the pentacles themselves. So there's this whole process that she goes through and creates a book of pentacles, which is like a living book. She actually attaches a familiar to the book. The method is absolutely amazing. Not something I do myself, but if you want to go through it, I definitely recommend it. It's great. Tracy, how can you tell the pentacle apart? Wouldn't they all look the same? No, when we're talking about this is a bit of a confusion with the name pentacles, and this question has come up before, and it makes perfect sense. So when we're talking about the Solomonic pentacles, they are not just pentagrams with circles around them. These are talismans, and each talisman has a particular design. Has different vertical around the end, around the outside, has different specific Hebrew letters or specific divine names or angelic names that are written inside. And the design itself, one might have a solar cross, for instance. One might have a Magan or Star of David, a hexagram. You know, there's all these different designs within them. But why they call them pentacles, still not sure. I haven't been able to find out the answer to that. It's crazy. Yeah, this is a very good Dead Kennedy song, isn't it? I love this song. Police truck. Tracy says, oh, it's a pleasure. I just readjust myself. So yeah, coming back to the Patreon stuff, which is why we started talking about the pentacles. So that's kind of what goes on there on the journal tier. Is I kind of present stuff that I either am working on or I've found interesting, and I want to kind of extend that to everybody else. But I mean, obviously there are other tiers above that. So the one above that is the Obsidian Veil, which is a monthly ritual that I do, which works in terms of sympathetic magic for everybody else, everybody connected to the Obsidian Veil. It's a protection and cleansing rite that I do every new moon. And then we have the Egregore project, but as I said, I'm not sure what to do with that. I think that needs some house cleaning. Then there's 3 more tiers above that, which are all the Temple of the Horn Serpent, which is first degree foundational training for the temple itself. It's the $15 tier, the $40 tier, and the $100 tier, depending on what you can afford and what you require. If you just want the material and you want to text me questions which I can give answers to, then there's the $15 tier. If you want to meet with me face to face, one-on-one, once a month, there's a $40 tier. And then the $100 tier is meet face to face on Zoom once a week. So those are the other tiers. As I said, I might shift things around a little bit. I've just got to give that some more thought. But I'm not worried about that now. Divs, who is the author of the Pentacle book again? My brain is a sieve today. So Mathers is the one that people usually refer to. But something I actually need to look into myself is the pentacles that are presented in Mather's book are not the only ones. There are other grimoires which presented a variety of different pentacles. So I need to explore that a bit as well when I get a chance. But yeah, Others is usually the one. Oh, but wait, are you talking about the modern authors, or are you talking about the original Mather's translation of the Pentacles? If you're talking about the modern authors, I usually talk about Sarah Mastros, who brought out the Sorcery of Solomon, which is about the 44 planetary pentacles. Okay, you were talking about Mastros. Alright, yeah, Sarah L. Mastros. She's actually got her new book, Introduction to Witchcraft, which I actually want to read as well. That came out last year. Oh, it's been quiet again. In that case, I'll just carry on telling you what else is going on. So, told you about YouTube, told you about Patreon. So, there's the workshops, which I'm producing and putting out. I've got the first one available for booking. That is going to be in March, but there's an early bird special until mid-February at the moment, which is the art of the spirit vessel. So I'm going to be creating a spirit box and calling Machiel the intelligence of the sun into the box. And if they are successful, the workshops are successful, I'm just going to carry on doing those because I kind of like the idea of the format. But yeah, so if you're interested in that, definitely book. I will be putting in the next one up next month. Oh, sorry, this month because it's now February. Which we'll do in April. Again, giving everybody 2 months advance notice. There'll be an early bird special, etc. That one is going to be about calling your familiar or a familiar. So that should be quite fun as well. I'm going to create one a month at the moment. If they are successful, I'll increase it to 2 workshops a month. Kerry, I'll put Mastros's book in my wish list. Good, yes, really good book. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Nobody's got anything they want to discuss or anything. We can always end early today. This is a good playlist. Going to say good night. See you all next weekend. Have a good one, Richard. Go well. Castle, I've been away for like 2 weeks. Just checking in as well. No worries. That's fine. Next week I'll be on Patreon. So if you want to join in there, you have to just sign up for one of the tiers. Alright, yeah, I think everybody's fading away. Yep. Have a good one, Castle. Thanks for joining anyway. Alright, so if anybody wants to join me next week, I will be on Patreon. Join up on the $5 journal tier or any of the other ones above that, and you can have access to that. And yeah, I'd join now because I might be putting the price up soon. But as I said, anybody who is already a member, the price won't change. You'll still be charged the same $5. So don't worry too much about that. Kerry said something big is coming up with a conjunction between Neptune and Saturn. It feels big. You know me and astrology. Just goes straight over my head. Alright. Night, Divs, and good night, Tracy. Good night, Kerry. Good night, Zanka. Alright, I'm gonna go. Have a good one. And hopefully see you next week or the week after.